Hello and welcome to a new episode of the New Wave Hockey YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm gonna be so real. I was not expecting the love and support that I got on my last video. Yeah, 3,000 views, 60 likes. I'm honestly in shock. I really am humbled by the amount of support that I got for my first really big venture onto YouTube. So I'm coming back with another one today, and today is a little bit of a special day today. It is the draft lottery, and as you can see, it's May 7th, and I'm recording this on May 7th around 2 p.m. So we'll see if I can get this out by that point. But I want to talk about an idea that I got from a comment on last video. It reads from Anaheim Rob: which of these top picks do you think have the greatest odds of being a bust? And while I'm not going to come out here and say that some of these picks are going to be bust, oh my god, yeah, I don't like this guy, so he's going to totally be a bust. I don't know what you're thinking by taking him. I think that there are players at this point where we could project as overrated compared to the market and where people think they're going to go, and underrated compared to where people think they're going to go. So without further ado, I'm going to bring you my 3 players that I think are super underrated and deserve more attention, and the players that I think are super overrated and super overhyped and maybe overdrafted come June. So let's start off with the positives. And starting off with the underrated players, I have Teddy Stiga. Now, you might say, hey, he's not really underrated anymore. Did you see his U18 Worlds performance? And yeah, I did. 6 goals, 5 assists for 11 points. That's crazy. Yes, he wasn't aligned with James Higgins, but the confidence and maturity that I saw with his game, just with the puck on his stick and with the puck off his stick too, he really just showed a very translatable game in the U18 Worlds. And I think he's grown up a lot through this year. He's developed a ton over this year in the USN TDP, and he's committed to Boston College next year. So I would even say that his development is guaranteed as a guy who's going to be in your top 6 and fit really well into that top 6. People are talking about him being a late second rounder, mid to late second rounder, or late first. I think people need to be talking about him in the top 20. I have him in my top 20, and he's not going to move, believe me. And I think people are about to bring him more into the first round. People need to really bring him into their top 20. He averages about a 38 on the boards that they show on his Elite Prospects page, but I really think that he deserves to be a top 20 prospect. He really just showed so much in the U18 level. He's going to be a very special player, and I want him on my hockey team. So you best believe he's somebody that I'm going to put in my top 20, no matter what anyone else is saying. And my next underrated player that I really think deserves a shot to be drafted ahead of where people think he's going to go, John Mustard. Now, I'm not putting him this high because he's got a great name, because he does. He really does. He's on the all-name team for this NHL draft. But what he did in Waterloo this season, while he didn't do point per game for his season, he still looked incredible. I really think he played well enough to earn himself a spot in the top 25, in the top 30 probably. I'm probably going to have him around that 25 to 30 spot. He really is a solid enough player. I love his scoring ability. I love his compete, probably the most. And I think his skating is very translatable to the NHL. He's a good enough stride. I think there's a lot of parts of his game that if you really develop him the correct way, he's going to be a star. He's going to Providence College next year, and he's going to play with Trevor Connolly, and I think he's going to learn a game that's going to help him pass better. I think he really has the potential to blow up next year in college hockey for your freshman season, and I'm very, very big on John Mustard and his comparables. Right now, on his Elite Prospects page, scouts and other websites have him around the 40s. I really think he should be brought down to at least the first round, because he's a first-round talent. I think he is exactly like a Gavin Brindley, where Brindley was a little bit better, but I think the exact same skill set is kind of there with John Mustard. And I think you really just can't pass him up. There's a lot of good talent that'll be ahead of him, but not a lot that will be after him. So consider taking him in your 25 to 30 range, because he's definitely worth it. All right, we're back. At my third underrated player, I really desperately wanted to put someone like Zeev Boyum here, but Zeev is my number 1 defenseman. I have him 3rd overall, and people have him in their top 10. I didn't think that was that big of a change to really get him to slide up a little bit, 8 or 7 picks. I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch. However, there's a player that's kind of like him and will potentially be playing with him next year at the University of Denver. That's if Zeev does not make camp, which he's going to make camp. So I believe in you, Zeev. Torrey Pittner from the Youngstown Phantoms in the USHL. I know, big year for the USHL. All three of my underrated players are USHL products. Watch more USHL. There's a lot of good products there. Torrey Pittner, a defenseman from the USHL. He is really kind of unknown on a lot of boards. I don't see him in a lot of first-round draft picks. I don't even see him in a lot of top 50s or top 60s, which is where he absolutely belongs. If you watch some of his tape this year, you'll see someone who is an absolutely incredible defenseman in terms of IQ. His skating is really solid. He knows where to be on the ice. He is really defensively reliable, and he just makes creative plays. Youngstown was not a great team. They went on a pretty good run in the USHL playoffs, and a lot of that was because of Pittner. He was a very good spark plug for the team this year, and I'm very, very high on him going into this draft. I have him around my 30-ish range, from like 36 to 32. He could very well sneak himself into a top first round. No, he could very well sneak himself into a first round pick. I really think he's that good. He's gonna be someone that next year you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, why did nobody take this guy? He's going to be a second-round pick that people are going to be like, what the hell? Why didn't we take him? Right now, on his Elite Prospects page, only 3 rankings lists have him in their top 100. And they're at 90, 78, and 86. That's messed up. For a guy who did a really good job in the USHL, I think he deserves more than that. I will have him higher. I want to thank Ethan Haytu, who is on my podcast for the February draft rankings, to show me this guy, because he really had an incredible season. I think you can't leave him out. Torrey Pittner, one of my underrated players. Count on it. And now we go into our players that I dislike and I think are overrated coming into this draft year. I really don't like making this because, again, I could be very wrong about some of these players, but so far what I've seen is I have these players a lot lower than a lot of draft ranking boards have him on their list. And let's start it off with somebody that I think is going to be a surprise to a lot of people on this board, but Liam Greentree. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Liam Greentree in terms of how highly he's been rated. People have him in their top 15, number 11, 13. Someone even has him as high as 6. I really think that's way too high on him. I mean, he's got the physical tools, and there's a difference between having physical tools and producing and also being a good prospect. I think you have to really watch his tape and look at his skating. He does make smart decisions. He does use his body really well, and of course, he put up 90 points on a terrible Windsor team. But the skating is really going to hold him back. He's going to be a much bigger project than people think. I honestly look to Connor Geekie as probably a good sample size of this. Great player, great prospect, just can't skate that well. He's still in the WHL, and he might not make his NHL debut for a year or two. I really think that it's a cautionary tale to take someone that high. I think I have him around my 20-ish range. He's like 22, 21, 20 for me. We'll see what happens for the May picks, but Liam Greentree, come down on him a little bit. He's not going to be that great. He's going to be a bit of a project. Again, I don't see the hype to put him in the top 15. The next overrated player I have on my list is somebody that people are probably going to come more down on, but I think people need to really drop off their expectations of this prospect. I have him outside my top 50. Adam Juracek, yes, his brother was a fantastic prospect. And again, another player who suffered a season-ending injury in their draft year. That always sucks. However, with Juracek, I really don't think he deserves to even be put in the first round, let alone the early second. I have him around my 50s. I have him between 60 and 50, and I think that's where he needs to stay or potentially drop even further. Yes, he was injured. You can't really give him kind of the benefit of the doubt at some points. But even when he was playing, he didn't even look all that great. He still clocked 19 games in the Czechia League, only scoring 1 point. That was an assist. And he only played 1 World Junior game, got injured. He has not looked great this season, even when he has played. And now that he's not been playing and he's been injured, someone might overthink and take him really high. I think the tools are there. I think the skating is all right. The puck moving potential is there. Again, come down on him because he's not going to be that great. People have him 17, 14, 12. That's kind of insane. He's ranked number 4 in Central Scouting by EU skaters. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I really don't see it in his tape. I don't see it in the way that he plays. And I don't get how somebody who comes from an injury-prone family, you see that and you're like, oh, he hasn't been producing that well this year. He didn't have a great draft year season. He got injured. These are big red flags that people are ignoring, and you need to not ignore that. Adam Jiricek, just come down on him a lot, I would say. Now, I saved this player for last on my overrated list because I'm going back and forth on this one. Again, I really think he's going to be a star player, but then I'll look at him and his game and I'll be like, there's no way I see him scoring over 60 points in the NHL. And that's someone like Berkeley Catton. Yeah, it's a little weird because I had him at my number 9 spot, which is like around where people think he's going to go. And I might even have him even higher for my next draft rankings because, again, as a prospect, he's been looking really, really good. 116 points, 68 games. Why am I so low on him? He's got a great scoring ability. He drives on the rush. He's got a great passing ability. Oh my gosh, you see the moves he makes? I really just don't like his compete. He looks bored, but he's not playing in a league where he should look bored. He doesn't look that motivated. I think that he plays really well. He does have a lot of great traits. I really think he needs to show a lot more maturity, a lot more work ethic, especially on the ice, battles away from the puck, battles with the puck as well. He has a tendency to do turnovers. Berkeley Catton, again, I'm not saying that he's going to be nothing. I don't think he's going to be a bust. Because I think this is going to be an overall weak draft class, and I think he's going to be a product of that. And people are going to be like, oh, 60 points a year. That's still great for somebody in this draft class. If you're expecting him to be your number 1 center, forget it, because he might not even play center at the next level. But also, I just don't think he's that dynamic of a prospect. I think there's a lot of holes in his game that really starts with his compete. So really just take into account what you're getting out of him, what he looked like in the WHL playing this year. Really look at what you're getting with Berkeley Catton. Go back, watch his tape. Go back, watch him. Again, not just the highlights, just watch his play without the puck and watch his play where he doesn't score a ton of goals. You'll see just a little bit of mediocrity, and that's kind of what I've seen. I could be wildly wrong, and I'm willing to take that chance. I mean, I'm putting this on YouTube anyway, but Berkeley Catton, I think, is a prospect that people really need to come down on and be like, okay, he's not the elite potential game-breaking forward that we're expecting to get here. All right? And thank you so much for watching today. I know it's the draft lottery, and I'm going to be coming out with something tomorrow. Yes, so I'm going to be posting this today, May 7th, and then we're going to be recording something tomorrow, May 8th, after the draft lottery is done, just doing a full mock draft of the draft lottery. It's going to be a bit longer than this. Guys, I'm trying to keep these short. I have a lot to talk about. Sorry. But yeah, I'm definitely going to do a full mock draft once the draft lottery is set in stone and we know where everyone's picking. And I think that'll be really fun and really interesting. So stay tuned for that as well. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Link Dan Savage, signing off.